G'day, I'm Dan.
And I'm Kristy, and we call Canberra our home.
We work, we parent, contribute to our community, living the Australian suburban dream.
With 4 kids, a dog, 2 businesses, large extended family, friends scattered all over the globe, we struggle at times.
But we do it all by embracing the crazy. And this helps us laugh, smile, cry, and brings meaning to our lives.
So join us and share the journey of our modern Australian family madness and embrace the crazy. Hey everyone.
G'day, and welcome. Today I wanted to talk about a very special milestone in our life, and I thought it was very apt to do it at the time. And this is a bit of a surprise for Kristy, so it's unplanned, but I think it's a really important time in our life and a big change for us. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I think as a family, individually, and for you particularly, it's a really big moment, and it's been working up to for quite a long while. And so, I think I thought it was really good to share it at the point in time to capture your feelings, capture your excitement, and walk through the process that we got to here, because that's a really hard thing for families, and it's been really hard for us.
Yeah.
And I think lots of other people have very similar moments like this, and they're really common as a family, but they're hard, and we often don't talk about them. We often just push through them, work through them, and get into it. And I thought it was a really nice opportunity for us to actually come together and talk about it.
Great.
So, Kristy, talk us through a little bit of what's next for you.
So tomorrow I start a new job, and I'm going back to occupational therapy, which is what I started off doing. When we first met, I was studying it. I started work, and then we made the decision for me to, when we started a family, to stop working as an OT and start working as a mum. And I have been doing that for the last 13 years. And I did go back to work for a period of time after we had our first child. But then after that, we made the decision for me to stay at home full time. So I haven't worked in occupational therapy for almost 11 years now. So I started the process at the end of middle of last year. I decided that I wanted to go back to doing OT, and I have since ignited my passion and my interest, or I was always interested, obviously, but it's become forefront in my mind now. And so it's been a long process. It's probably been a 6-month process to get my registration back to where it needs to be so that I can practice. And then I've found myself a job, and tomorrow that begins. So it's going to be a huge period of transition for our family. But I'm really, really excited about it. And Dan's obviously been supporting me heaps, and without his support, I wouldn't be able to do this. So it's a huge team effort.
That's not the reason that I wanted to do this, although that's very nice to hear that. I think as a partner, when your partner does this, it's a big change, and for someone who likes change, it's still an adjustment. But I've just been so excited by this whole process. I think it's easy for me. I've probably worked on my passions, and had a lot of focus on me and doing what I needed to do to be able to do what we wanted to do. But I think for you to be able to do something that's yours, that you want to do, and I think we should be clear, you've been working really hard for a long while, so it's not like you're starting work again.
No.
But it's doing what you have been put on this earth to do, hasn't it? Yeah, well, it's what you wanted to do. It's been about your passion. It's very exciting to be able to get there. What do you feel scared about?
Oh, geez. I don't know if I would say that I'm scared about anything. The thing that's really standing out to me that I'm probably feeling a little bit nervous about is how the heck am I going to manage 4 kids, running a house, running a business, and working at part-time. So just pointing out that I'm not working full-time, so I've made the decision to work part-time, and I've been offered a permanent part-time position, which is fantastic, and I'm really impressed by that. And just the management of it. And we've spoken a lot about time management and how I'm really good at it, but this is something that is totally new for me. I've never had to work, I've never had to work outside of the home when I have 4 kids and I'm managing their lives. So this is going to be a really big change. I'm not concerned about the work at all. I know that I'm competent and I'm confident, and the OT department where I'm working, they back me 100%. And so the process of going back to work, I'm not really that put off by. It'll be nervous. It'll be nervous. See, I can't even talk. It'll be nerve-wracking. That first patient that I see, and introducing myself back into the workforce, because it's been a while and I'm a lot older than I was when I left. But I'm a lot more wise. No, but I'll be working with potentially, much younger people, and they'll be having to supervise me, and, I'm not concerned about that at all. I'm very comfortable with where I am professionally, but it's just being that personal side of it, being able to manage, when the kids get sick, and I won't be able to work, or Dan will have to work from home, or, we're going to have to negotiate. There's going to be a lot of negotiations, and my brain's probably going to be fried by this time next week.
There's going to be some early bedtimes for you. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. I'm very ready for that. One of the things that's impressed me about your last few weeks is your preparation steps.
Yes.
And what we've done to prepare. Let's talk about that, because I think that's something that helps you feel comfortable and confident. Exactly what you just said. It doesn't just happen. It's not just a feeling. It's actually work that allows you to be able to feel like that.
Yep.
So just walk us through what have you done?
Well, this is the last day of school holidays here in Canberra. So the last 2 weeks I've really focused in on preparing meals. That's been a huge thing for me, because meal preparation is obviously a big thing that I do, and I prepare a lot of meals. And so I've just spent probably just an hour in the kitchen organising lunches for the week, for the kids, for me, for you, Dan, because now that I have to make lunch every day, I said to Dan, do you want me to make some lunch?
That's not a commonality. I should call that out. You never make me lunch ever.
I do.
So it's very unique.
So
very welcomed.
And then I've been meal prepping. So during the holiday period, if I make a meal, I make double and I put it in the freezer. So the days that I'm working, I can just pull something out and just heat it up and we're ready to go. So that I don't have that stress of, okay, I finish work, I have to pick the kids up, and then I have to do all their activities, and then I need to think about a meal. So I'm taking one of those huge things in our lives out of the equation. I don't need to worry about meals for the days that I'm working this week or next week. So I even meal planned. So that's the other thing. It's not just preparation. I've meal planned for 3 weeks in advance so that I knew what was coming, and that, next week when I've had into my second week of work, I'll probably be feeling even more tired, and so I'm fully stocked. It's actually similar to, I said this to you the other day, similar to having a baby. Like, you prep yourself, you get your house ready, you get your meals in the fridge, you plan so that you don't have to think about those extra things. So this is actually almost like preparing for having a baby, and that's what I know. So that's why I'm likening it to that.
I also liked what we did, where we sat down together and just planned out the week.
Yeah.
And look, I know it was simple and easy, but just working through, all right, who's cooking, who's picking up where,
Yep.
what times are things happening.
Yep.
We talked to the kids a little bit about their sport and some things that we wanted to change and,
Yep.
and things like that as well, which all helped. But I think for me, I guess being on the other side, the one thing that helped enormously is I know what to expect now. So,
Yep.
I think we've got a clear plan for the week and weeks ahead, which will kind of repeat week after week. So that makes me feel more comfortable that, things will still happen. We're still in the right place, and you're not going to be let down, and you're not going to feel pressured. I think that's the other part. I'm mindful that you like planning. I think you said planning about 4 or 5 times just before there. It's one of your favourite things. And I love being planned as well. Obviously, I can't plan myself, but I like being planned. And so I think working on that together helps us get a good zone as a good starting point, which will probably be completely changed in a few days' time. But at least we've got a standard of where we know we're starting from.
Yeah. And the other thing I've done since I started this process, I've included the kids in what's going on. I'm going to be going back to work. I'm going to go back to being an OT. I'm going to not be at home every single day during the day. And it won't affect them entirely because they're at school. So, you know, the process will still be the same. They'll be taken to school, but there is an added bonus of them having to go now to before school care a couple of days a week, so that I can be at work on time, and so that the impost isn't on Dan, because Dan's a very, very busy man as well. But then we've spoken about that with the kids. You know, I'm going to do this. This is what is going to be happening, so that they're prepared and they have a plan in their mind. Okay, so tomorrow is actually a pupil-free day from school, so I've organised that, you know, my parents will look after the children and they will go there and I'll pick them up in the afternoon, and then the following day they'll go to before school care. So it's been a conversation, and it pretty much started when I decided that I was going to go back to OT, because the expectations, talking about expectations and planning, children like routine. Children like to know what's happening, and our children especially like to know what's happening. And I think it's important to include them in that conversation, because it's a huge change for them that, you know, I won't be at school assembly every morning, or I won't be able to, you know, come and help at school every day. And so I won't be at sporting events and things like that. So that's another thing that we've worked on. So we're planning within ourselves, we're planning for meals, we're planning for, you know, all those things, but also preparing the kids for it as well.
I think it's such an impressive thing, because I think you're taking on another huge piece of work around everything else that you're doing, and you've got a huge amount of commitments. But I think why I wanted to talk about this is, one, because I think it's amazing what you're doing, but secondly, the ability for you to be able to do that is pretty impressive. And I know a lot of people would love to hear about, like, how does that work? So you're just going to add in, you know, whatever it is, another 20 hours plus of work a week amongst everything else that you're doing. How do you do that? And I think you outlined some really great steps around how to do it. And yeah, it's amazing watching. So I think really impressive that where you are, and yeah, looking forward to hearing. And I guess we're going to have lots more stories, aren't we, over the next few weeks of really the reality of this, which I'm sure will be a bit different, but it's always exciting to start with the first step before the day-to-day jumps in. And I'm sure we'll learn lots out of this and be able to share lots more and talk about it much more as well.
And the other thing is, I'm not the first woman to be going back to work.
No,
so
exactly.
Exactly,
and that's why I wanted to talk about it.
Much, you know, but I've had a longer stint off work.
Yep.
And so going back, I'm not going back to the same job I had. I'm going back to a totally different workplace, totally different setup. So there's going to be challenges, but I think we're good for it. I think, you know, I'm excited. I've done this before. I haven't done all of the things that I have on my plate. Haven't done them all together at the same time before, but I'm confident that it's going to be fantastic. And Dan's sister was here this weekend, and she said nothing's permanent. If you can't do it, then we reevaluate, we adjust. But I think it's going to be a good thing. It's great for me to have something that's just for me, that I go and do for myself. I love working with Dan. I love being a mum, but this is another thing that I love, that I'm putting back into my life, which it's really exciting.
Yeah. Well, look, I hope that gives a bit of insight into Kristy and her big next step, and I'm sure we'll start to share more and more stories over the coming weeks, but I thought it was a really exciting milestone to share and talk about, and provide some insight into, and give you a bit of context and background to what we'll be talking about over the next few weeks.
Yeah, stay tuned. The wheels might fall off and I might be a absolute mess.
Have a great one, everyone.
Yeah, see ya.